but also the door then closed after that.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's what I mean. It was an anomaly as where it was like, it was less as in like, okay, Ray's the first one to break this door open. It was like no, the door's not open. Ray's just the exception.
hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Burning Hammer podcast. I'm your host, Mark Izzo, and to your right, that's your other host, Dillon Bryan. And to kick us off, we are going to start to do questions of the week. Every single week, we're going to kick the episodes off with a question. This week's question is, if you can give any wrestler a title for within any company, who would it be? You let us know in the comments. And Dillon, what wrestler would you give a title?
If I could give any wrestler in any company any title, I'm doing the one that's been staring us in the face for far too long.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Chad Gable, as the United States champion needs to happen, guys.
Yep. Yeah.
It's been far too long. It's essentially, it feels like we've been waiting his entire career for this to happen. The guy is next level in the ring. He's next level with his crowd work. He's next level with his character work. He's really, really good. Like, he's really talented all around. Can't really find something that he's not good at.
Yeah.
So he deserves a singles push, and I do think we're on the verge of getting it. And I'm looking forward to the Chad Gable singles run that we've never properly gotten in WWE. He's always kind of been thrown in some tag teams, and we had the Shorty G era, of course, which was not the best. So, if Triple H, the Triple H era has been extremely kind to Chad Gable, and, well, I say that he has lost a lot.
He's been kind to him in the sense that he's making him wrestle every week.
Yeah, like, Chad Gable has been on TV, like, he's making sure that nobody forgets about Chad Gable.
Yeah, like, Gable seems like he's the reliable guy that Triple H can go to and be like, you're having a match tonight, and he's going to know it's going to be a good match.
Yeah, totally. It's a great role for him to be in, and I think he's probably earned a lot of respect backstage, creative wise. I'm going to guess, like, as far as like Triple H and those guys are concerned, with just the fact that he goes out there literally every single week, loses most of the time, and just puts out a great performance, and like everyone's always excited to see it. Ooh,
yeah, he's one of my favorites right now, and it's funny you say that because that's the exact person and title I was going to do. Also. Yeah. I'm like you said, I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. I feel like it could happen, but
he's on Raw now, though.
Yeah, so that's the other issue.
Yeah.
So it's probably not going to happen, but I think a Chad Gable singles run with a mid-card title is what we need. Give it to me all day, every day. And like I said, we're going to start to do questions of the week every single week. So let us know down in the comments below if you could give any wrestler any title, who would it be and which title would it be? And another thing we are going to do is we are going to introduce a trivia segment. So we're going to do this sort of every once in a while. I'm going to get together some trivia questions, and we're going to see if Dillon can answer the trivia questions right. And then after this, we are going to get into our top 5 personal favorite wrestlers of all time. So let's get started with some trivia. Who doesn't like trivia? Who doesn't like some good old classic game shows? So these are all going to be themed because based off of Night of Champions, which is a mere a week and a half about away. If by the time you're watching and listening, it is this Saturday night. So to kick us off, Dillon, are you ready? Do you think you have what it takes to run through the gauntlet?
Give me the gauntlet, Mark. Let's
Ask,
do it.
and you shall receive the first question. Night of Champions returns in 2023, May 27th. But when was the last year that Night of Champions took place? A, 2014, B, 2015, C, 2016, or D, 2017?
The last year that Night of Champions took place. I believe this is a trick question.
It's not.
I'll tell you. Because the last iteration of Champions, I believe, was Clash of Champions or something.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with 2014.
2014. Let's see if it's right. No, it's
Oh.
wrong. 2015.
I was going to go with that one.
Yeah, that was the last time that the event named Night of Champions took place was B 2015. It feels like, not like you said, there's also been a Clash of Champions, but to go back to the name of Night of Champions 2015, which some significant things took place in 2015's card. So moving on.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I remember
Question number 2. Dillon's 0 for 1. Let's see if he can get this next one right. Seth Rollins defended both the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and the United States Championship on the Night of Champions in 2015. He defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Sting, but who did he defend the U.S. title against? A, Dolph Ziggler.
I know the answer.
B, Randy Orton. C, Kevin Owens, or D, John Cena?
It was D, John Cena. He lost to John Cena.
He did. What
and
a
then,
time.
And then that was the match that Sting got hurt in.
Yep. Yeah, that was the main event was Seth Rollins versus Sting. That's the match.
Was that his last WWE match?
I feel like he had one more, maybe, or that may be the one I'm just thinking about. I can't remember off of the top of my head, but there you go, Dillon, 1 for 2. We're trying to get 3 right here. So the next question: in 2015, New Day were the WWE Tag Team Champions, but who did they lose their tag titles to? Was it A, the Dudley Boys, B, the Hardy Boys, C, the Wyatt family, or D, the Ascension?
I think it was the Dudley Boys.
The Dudley Boys is correct.
Okay, sweet. Nice.
There you go. 2 for 3. Dillon's on a roll. All right. Next question. Who did Kevin Owens beat to win the Intercontinental Championship, Night of Champions 2015? Was it A, Ryback? Was it B, Rusev? Was it C, Wade Barrett? Or was it D, Chris Jericho?
I think it was Ryback.
Ryback is right.
Yeah.
Way to go. And we have the last question. 2015 Night of Champions. How many titles changed hands during the event? Was it A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, or D, 4? How many titles changed hands at Night of Champions in 2015?
Okay, so let me try to think of all the titles. Well, we know that KO beat Ryback, so that's 1. And Cena won the title back off Rollins, so that's 2. I'm gonna go with 4.
4 is incorrect.
It's 3, isn't it?
It was 3.
Yeah.
So there you have it. But congrats, Dillon. You won the trivia. You got 3 right out of the 5. That's all you needed to do. How do you
Yes!
feel?
Yes! 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 I feel awesome. That was fun. I think it would be fun.
There you have it.
That was
Little
fun.
trivia.
That was fun.
We got.
I think it would be even more fun, if we had a guest and like we had people compete against us. People try to beat the legends.
We just, in case you're listening, we just posed. That's why there was that brief pause of silence.
Yeah.
It would be just like
New thumbnail. Is that the thumbnail this week?
maybe.
See it, my.
There's this one show that was on like the Game Show Network, and it was just like this guy who was just like super smart, and then they just had like someone else try to like beat him pound for pound on like questions or something. So it could be something similar like that. You know, we got some people who cover professional wrestling over at Vendetta that could see if they could try to take us down with some trivia questions. And let us know what are some what are some names that would be good for this trivia game segment. Let us know in the comments below. With that being said, we are going to dive in to our top 5 personal favorite wrestlers of all time. Now, I really want to make this clear. This is a personal top 5 list. Last week's episode, we discussed, or a few weeks ago, actually, we discussed the top 5 current all-around wrestlers. So you can go back and listen to that. This is not to be confused with that. This is our personal favorite wrestlers of all time. So please keep that in mind before you come for us on social media. Dillon, do you have any honorable mentions? Because I got a couple.
Yeah, I got a. Oh shit. Sorry, I got a few. Yeah, I've got 3. And they're 100% should probably be more. And there's probably people that I'm forgetting. But my main 3 honorable mentions, that I wanted to give out were are actually realistically I have like so many honorable mentions. All right, I got like 5 honorable mentions.
All right, give them to me.
First honorable mention, Samoa Joe. Wasn't able to make my list. I just because of other people simply ranked ahead of him. He's so good, amazing.
Fair enough.
Edge and Christian are both outside of my top 5 personal favorites of all time. Easily both could have been on the list as well. They just didn't make it. Like it's just I don't know. If I was feeling different on another day, I could have put them on the, you know what I mean? It's so both Edge and Christian, and I won't say Edge and Christian, I'll say Edge and then Christian. Their careers separately, I've really enjoyed both of them. I love Christian as Christian Cage, outside of the WWE. I really enjoy Christian's work as Christian Cage. Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is easily in my head. He's one of the greatest ever. He's possibly the greatest ever when it comes to just keeping it fresh and reinventing themselves. I don't think I've ever seen a professional wrestler reinvent themselves as many times and quite the way that Chris Jericho has throughout his career. And he's made it work every single time. And he knows he's got it down. He knows what he's doing. Come on now.
Yeah.
Chris damn Jericho. And then the final honorable mention that 100,000%. Wait, where'd it go? Oh, all right. Never mind. Never mind. I think I'm good. I think
All right,
that's
so
5.
I'll get into my honorable mentions. I've got a
Yeah.
couple. Number one, I am going to say is Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Okay.
Now, I debated putting him at number 5, but I just felt like I had to put someone else at number 5. So I'm gonna give an honorable mention. I think he's still very young, and although we've only have a few years of him, I could tell he's gonna be one of my favorites ever. He already is one of my favorites ever. He's just an honorable mention. I was also going to say Chris Jericho as well. Um, I'm going to say John Cena is an honorable mention. Um, it's like it's tough, man. But John Cena is an honorable mention for one of my favorites ever. Just given the length of his career, everything he's been able to do inside WWE, and that's it for my honorable mentions list. So
I feel like I'm missing I feel like I accidentally deleted one.
it's all good.
If it comes back to me, I'll have it come back, but
Yeah. So why don't you give us your number 5?
all right, so my number 5 favorite wrestler of all time is John Cena. God, it just it felt wrong to leave him off the list.
Yeah.
I think I would be kidding myself to leave him off the list. I mean, the guy truly was a huge part in making me fall in love with what is pro wrestling, um, and what is the WWE. An all-timer, 16-time world champion. We all know John Cena. And really, he was the first favorite wrestler, I really had. And um it really just feels wrong keeping him off this list because I feel like even though this more older, my as my even though he doesn't hold as a significant role in my professional wrestling fandom, as I got older and as I got a better understanding of what professional wrestling is, and I started to appreciate wrestling for the storytelling, and you know what I mean. But at a time when all of that was out the window and I was just a kid watching this, John Cena had me in there every single week. So to leave him off this list really just felt like a disservice. And I got to put John Cena at number 5, probably my childhood favorite.
That's a great pick. And so my number 5 is Rey Mysterio. And that's for pretty much the same reasons that you said. Like, Rey Mysterio was the first professional wrestler that I ever watched on television. And he's always just held a special place in my heart. Which is funny because he's always the story of like the underdog and like height doesn't matter. And I've always just been like one of the tallest people in my classes. So it's funny that I fell in love with him. But I mean, Rey Mysterio, I think the guy easily one of the best to ever do it. He's my number 5, and he's the person similar to what John Cena did for you. Rey Mysterio did that for me. So I had to throw Mysterio at number 5 on my list.
Oh yeah, and I remembered my last honorable mention, and it was CM Punk. I don't know why. I don't know with the way
I also should have known that. I should have known that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Think of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like accidentally hit delete as I was like, and then I forgot what it was, and I was like, fuck. But yeah, it was CM Punk was my other honorable mention that I wanted to give real quick. Just because with kind of with the way some stuff went down recently in his career, that kind of pushed him out of my top 5. he easily would have been in my top 5 before all that stuff went down. And I'm not like holding it too hard against him. I'm just saying there's now like tainted stuff on his legacy. And
Yeah.
but I mean, at a time, I mean, John Cena versus CM Punk Money in the Bank might be my favorite match ever. So
Yeah.
um
So who is your number 4?
my number 4 has got to go to the Apex Predator, Randy Orton.
Great pick.
Yeah, Randy Orton, everyone knows him, a veteran in the professional wrestling game, really a staple in WWE for the last 20 years. Um, a legend in tons of ways, a legendary, uh, debatably will probably go down as a top, not even debatably, he's going to go down as a top 5 heel of all time. Um, and it's let me tell you this, dude.
Tell him.
Growing up as a child, watching Randy Orton, dude, that dude was like legit. Like, I was like scared of him, bro.
He
Like,
was
I
an
thought
absolute menace, dude.
bro, I thought he was like a legit psycho. Like, if I saw him on the street, he would like kill me. Like, I thought like Randy Orton was like, that's how scared. Like, what a heel. That's what you want out of your heels.
Yeah.
You want children in the crowd to be scared of that guy. And I mean, just punt kicking John Cena's father.
Oh yeah.
Some legendary heel moments from Randy Orton. And it's funny that I put him at in my favorites of all time for while I say all these heel moments, because those heel moments I remember like in the like being a child being like no, just like hating Randy Orton so
Yeah.
much. And it's as you get older and you realize that he was so incredibly good at his job, and that's the reason
Yeah.
you hated him so much. But yeah, just and I really hope we get him back in the ring again. Hopefully sooner rather than later if we do get him. But just want Randy to have a good, healthy life. I know the back issues have been apparently not been going great, but hopefully we'll get Randy back in the ring. And yeah, so Randy Orton's going to be my 4th on my top
Yeah.
5.
I mean, what a guy. I mean, it's really like he's someone you will truly appreciate once you've like grown up and you fully understand everything. Like that's when you're going to like appreciate just how good Randy Orton is. And I should have mentioned it in my honorable mentions, but I'm going to say it now. So like I'll throw Randy Orton as an honorable mention, and a few other guys would just be like Batista and Triple H and Edge as like honorable mentions for me. Just cuz my favorites are from a different time for me personally. But obviously all those guys are like childhood favorites for me. So
Hmm.
I just wanted to. I probably should have mentioned them in as my honorable mentions, just so in case people are wondering why they're not in my top 5. But yeah, I mean Randy Orton, what a guy, what a legacy that he's going to leave behind once he calls it quits in the ring. And like you said, hopefully we get him back. But he has nothing left to prove if he wants to call it quits. He has nothing left to prove. But to me, he just seems like someone who's gonna go out on their terms and
Yeah.
not because of an injury. So hopefully we get him back in the ring. But the most important thing is that he's healthy and that he's happy. So we wish a speedy recovery to Randy, and hopefully everything's good. So moving on to my number 4. And like I said, these top 4 for me are like an era once I've not fully grown up, but it's an era in which I was understanding more of what professional wrestling was. You learn a few things, you start to learn about storylines and whatnot. You get more in depth into all sides of professional wrestling. And so that's what these next 4 guys are from, sort of the same era. For me, number 4 is Malachi Black. Now, I absolutely love this guy. I think he is one of the most underrated and underappreciated talents in all of professional wrestling. If I could have any style of professional wrestler, it would be Malachi Black style. I've just never really seen anyone like him with the way he can strike, the way he uses his feet, his quickness, everything about him. The guy is unreal in the ring and his gimmick is absolutely awesome. So he's my number 4 personal favorite wrestler of all time.
Love it. Yeah. Malachi Black, Aleister Black in the old black and gold NXT days. Yeah, not a bad pick at all there. Not a bad pick at all there. All right. So that was your 4, so we're on my 3. My number 3 favorite wrestler of all time is the phenomenal AJ Styles. AJ Styles debatably is the best in-ring worker of all time. I mean, dude, AJ Styles is the wrestler that opened me to the world of professional wrestling. Now, I've been a WWE fan for as long as I can remember. Like I said, I had childhood favorites like guys like John Cena and stuff like that. But AJ Styles was the first wrestler I saw that made me expand, I guess, my palate past WWE. And I just saw some highlights of this guy on YouTube, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, this guy's insane. And then I just spent months of my life just watching YouTube highlights of this guy, and just matches of this guy and catching up. It was the first time I'd really gotten into wrestling. I just became so enamored with AJ Styles. I was just like, this guy's sick. I want to see all this guy's work. And just over time, and then eventually AJ Styles' debut in the WWE was just, I mean, an all-time moment, something we never thought we would get. Mr. TNA, AJ Styles, easily the greatest worker in TNA history. And he's, before he went to WWE, he was easily the greatest wrestler to never touch a WWE ring. In my opinion, he's just next level, dude. He's just AJ Styles. Really, in my opinion, I mean, was so important and held such a specific and important role in professional wrestling. Especially at a time when WWE really had a grip on professional wrestling as a whole. And it really feels like it was WWE versus AJ Styles for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, it was WWE was just trying to make sure that this guy, like AJ Styles, just was so big. Like, if you don't understand how big, how like AJ Styles at the time, it was like, it's like if you could think of a wrestler that has never wrestled in WWE, and now imagine he's bigger than any wrestler that has never, like, the biggest free agent of all time.
Yeah. And he, like, if you never watch, which, like, I never watched TNA, just like a lot of kids during the time, but like late 2000s TNA, like, they were given WWE a run for their money, and that was all because of AJ
Oh
Styles.
my god.
Like,
AJ Styles, aces and eights, like AJ Styles was, yeah, like I said, Mr. TNA. He's the man, dude.
and boy, I'm so happy he went to
Oh
WWE.
yeah. I mean, and
Um,
I really his career has come full circle in his decision to go to WWE. And you know, a lot of guys who come from the indies and have a super successful indie career go to WWE and it doesn't end up panning out. But AJ Styles is definitely one that WWE has not fucked up.
yeah,
And I just don't. I just think they were like, we can't fuck this up. And
yeah,
it's also just because AJ Styles. It's also just been like AJ Styles has debatably been one of the best wrestlers in the world for the last 20 years without your company. You
yeah.
don't need to change a thing about him.
And
So they didn't, which was
it
nice.
was it was important too because it was also like similar to what we got with Cody Rhodes. It was like, all right, we have this guy who's super big on the independent scene. So if we bring him in and change everything, then these other people who are really big outside of WWE aren't going to want to come to the company. So that's why
Mhm.
it was big that he went there. He was AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. They didn't change much. And that really, you could say he was the true forbidden door for professional wrestling. So
I
AJ
mean,
Styles is
truly,
a great
that
pick.
was like an all-time. Just never thought we were ever gonna see that.
Yeah, I mean, great pick. So for my number three, um, I have to go with the one, the only Adam Cole, baby. Um, and these next few guys, they've been wrestling for a while, and I am not going to sit here and act like I watched them for their entire career just because it was a different time when they were wrestling. Like I never watched Adam Cole in like Ring of Honor or like New Japan or anything like that. I watched him once he got to NXT Black and Gold, and on the mic in the ring, he is one of the best in the world. And it was also just like during a time where I'm just figuring out more things about professional wrestling, and you get more involved in the storylines and everything with the Undisputed Era. And this guy just runs through the crowd and makes his debut in NXT, and you can just tell he is a big deal. And it's a shame, like you said, things didn't work out in WWE with him just because he didn't fit the mold that Vince McMahon has. But he just shows you that it doesn't matter where he goes, he is one of the biggest stars, whichever company he goes to. I mean, we're seeing him in AEW now. He's going to stay in AEW probably for the rest of his career, and he's one of the faces of all elite wrestling. So, I mean, happy to have him in my top five. And he's like one of the first, like you said, he's one of the first people for me where like I still feel like Adam Cole is a professional wrestler. So like professional wrestling wise, like after watching him in NXT, I went back on YouTube and like watched some more stuff that he did on the indies, and that's truly when I fell in love with him. So Adam Cole, my number three favorite wrestler of all time.
Hell yeah, not mad at it at all. I mean, boom, Adam Cole is a good guy. Great pick right there. My number two favorite wrestler of all time is. I actually want to. I was gonna say something. Okay, my favorite wrestler, my second favorite wrestler of all time is. He is a visionary. He is a revolutionary. He is Seth freaking Rollins.
Hey, Mr. DJ, play my song.
Yeah,
Great pick.
what an all-time wrestler that is Seth Rollins. I mean, just an all-time great. Currently has the fan base on a in a stranglehold. He
Oh yeah.
is debatably the most over wrestler on the planet. Um, I mean, he's one of the guys that is so good that they had no choice but to make him a babyface, just because of they were just like, it doesn't matter what this guy does, he's just the best, and everyone's gonna cheer for him. Um, so like they could definitely make Seth Rollins heel again in his career, but it's gonna be really
They probably
hard.
won't.
I don't really see them doing it properly because he's just too over, bro. And it's just like
He would need a new gimmick, and the
that's what I
problem
mean.
is, if they give him a new gimmick and it's awesome, then everyone's just gonna start to cheer him again. So,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, and it's also just especially now with his song, like if you want to make him heel, you got to change his theme song.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah, and it's like no one's trying to go
Nobody
through
wants
all
that.
that. And it's like Seth doesn't need and Seth is so like he doesn't need to be a traditional baby face. He's so good at what he does is at just
Yeah.
being Seth Rollins. Yeah. So I mean Seth, I think more than anything, any other wrestler, especially on this list, it's been really cool for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, to watch the evolution of Seth Rollins in his entire career. And and it's really interesting the way Seth Rollins has made his way onto, this far up my favorite wrestlers of all time. Because it was never um like all right, maybe he'll get it's like maybe he'll get there, maybe he'll get there. It's been like let's see if he can keep this up, dude. Like
Yeah.
let's see, he's always had it. He had it the second he's gonna go down as he's easily gonna be a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time. Arguably one of the greatest factions of all time in the Shield. I mean, when you look at the Shield, like looking back on it, holy shit. I mean, John Moxley, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
What an absolute mega team of
Yeah.
a faction. Like, geez. It's insane, really. But yeah, Seth, he's just, in my opinion, he's the best in the world all around. He can go in ring with the best of them. If you say he's the best in the world, nobody's going to argue with you. If you say he's the best on the mic, nobody's going to argue with you. He can go toe to toe with anybody in professional wrestling at any aspect of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
He is next level. He's my second favorite wrestler of all time at this point. He's so good.
He's at the top of every single category that there is for
professional.
It's
It's gimmick, it's persona, it's mic skills, it's crowd work, it's in-ring skills, it's his attitude, it's like the essence he gives off, it's everything, dude.
Yeah. I mean, great pick. I think Seth Rollins, when his career is done, he's probably going to crack my top 5 for one of my favorites right now. And he is currently my favorite wrestler in the game right now. So, I mean, Seth Rollins, there's no one like him. He's someone I would recommend if, like, I'm trying to get someone into professional wrestling, then I'm going to say, watch Seth Rollins.
You can't not like Seth, bro.
Like,
if you don't like Seth, then you're just like...
You're a bad person. That's it.
You're also just trying hard to not like him. You know what I mean? You have to try to not like Seth Rollins.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's a great pick for your number 2. So my number 2, I was debating to put this guy at number 1 or number 2. Ultimately, I had to put him at number 2, and that is Samoa Joe. Now, speaking of TNA, I mean, talk about the impact that Samoa Joe had in TNA and Ring of Honor. Like,
easily, yeah.
And again, I just was exposed to him in the Black and Gold NXT, and then I went back and watched all of his stuff. I have never seen someone speak so viciously, but also so elegantly at the exact time.
That's a great way to describe it, honestly. He speaks so violently, but but like you said, so elegantly. Like he says,
Yeah.
it's so
He's just,
precise.
I mean, he
They
truly,
fumbled him so fucking hard on the main roster, bro.
and I don't, and like it sucks to like go back to like think about, because like there was the clips are popping up of when Brock was one of world or universal
Yeah,
champion years ago, and
and we
Samoa
had Joe
Joe
versus
just
Brock.
cooked him on the mic. And
Destroyed him,
I'm just
bro.
like I've never seen anyone come at Brock Lesnar like that. Like he was not scared of Brock Lesnar at all. And like if like I just like no one I've never seen anyone like stand up to Brock like
It was
that. And
such a good person to put over Brock, too. Oh my god, we could talk all day about Vince
yeah.
McMahon having a goddamn hard on for Brock Lesnar.
So yeah, I mean, in the ring, the guy is a genius. He can go with the best of them. He can
The biggest problem is he's a bit chubby. We can't have him beat
literally,
Brock.
yeah. And
Not
so
enough
like
muscles.
he's not tall enough, damn it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Samoa Joe, what a guy. I mean, there's not much like if you aren't familiar with him, just go back, like watch him in ROH. You can watch him in TNA. Like the guy is unreal and he's really, really good in the ring. And I'm happy that he is one of the faces of AEW Collision moving forward. So I mean, potentially may get a feud between him and CM Punk on Collision. So we'll see what happens with that. But Samoa Joe, number 2, my second personal favorite wrestler of all time. I'm happy with that guy coming in at
Yeah,
number
we
2.
need to get Samoa Joe as like Samoa Joe needs to be in a top tier competitor on AEW. Enough of this like pushing Samoa Joe off to the side. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Samoa
It's like,
Joe should be in main event level matches.
yeah. And
I'm just
it's
tired
like,
of seeing him in the mid card.
yeah, and it's like every time he comes out, he gets like a massive pop from the crowds, and
Joe, 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 Joe,
great
Joe.
theme song too.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom,
Joe, Joe, Joe,
boom.
Joe, Joe, Joe,
Um,
Joe.
so like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't mind his mid card stuff with like AEW. I thought that his TNT World Title run, they're
I just
playing
want a
hot
world.
potato
I
with
just want
it.
a world. I just want a Samoa Joe world title run. Is all I want.
He deserves it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, let's give the guy a proper push, and maybe we'll get it with AEW Collision. So,
Yeah.
who's your number 1? Who's your favorite wrestler of all time? I think I know, but let the
Yeah.
people know.
My favorite number 1 wrestler of all time is yes, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan in WWE. Yeah, Bryan Danielson's my favorite wrestler of all time.
Let us
And
know in the comments. Do you think Dillon looks like 2015 Bryan Danielson?
which, in all fairness, I don't think I do at all. I think I just have long hair and facial hair.
You do. That's it.
Yeah, I did like the other guy who said I looked like Daniel Bryan. I think I just have long hair and like my beard was kind of scruffy at the time. It was
If you
just
squint, you look like him a little if you squint.
dun, 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 dun. Yes, 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 yes. Or I could put my hair up like how he did his before.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
cut your hair like how he has it now.
How's he have it now?
He shaves the sides.
The
and the top
sides,
is
yeah,
super
yeah.
long. Don't do that.
Anyway, back to Bryan Danielson. I if there's not a greater example of someone forcing their way to the top, it's I don't know what a greater example of someone pushing their own way to the top would be, other than Bryan Danielson. It hit a point where the fans were so behind this guy that it just could not be ignored. They truly did not want to have him win the main event of WrestleMania. It was always designed for Batista to win when he won when Daniel Bryan won at WrestleMania 30. They just literally had no choice. They were like, this place is going to be so fucking mad
Yeah.
if we don't give it to Daniel Bryan. That's just like a random tidbit that I wanted to throw out there from a highlight of his career. Of obviously, it's the WrestleMania 30 moment. But this run in AEW has really just cemented him as my favorite wrestler of all time, especially these last few months, as he's really taken the role as like the leader of Blackpool Combat Club and doing the talking, and he's just so good. He's just so good. Like when it comes to in ring, he's easily one of, if not the greatest in ring technician of all time. He can put on a 5-star match with anybody in the world. He is next level on the mic. He truly changed the game of professional wrestling, especially as far as WWE is concerned. To where, and yes, of course, and there are, like Mark mentioned earlier, guys like Rey Mysterio, and there was guys that were breaking the mold as far as size is concerned and stuff like that. But Daniel Bryan, when he was in WWE, I guess the reason I want to is like, because yes, he wasn't as Rey Mysterio and some other guys, they aren't like, they broke the mold for what WWE likes to push to the main event. Daniel Bryan was like represented everything WWE hated. Like he was the anti WWE champion. Like that's essentially what he was. He wasn't tall enough. He wasn't strong enough. He wasn't
handsome.
Yeah, he wasn't handsome enough. He was like it. He couldn't. He was a little weird. You know what I mean? Like he was a little strange. He's a little sensitive. Like he's super specific. He's a little like nerdy even. He's not that as you would say stereotypically cool. He doesn't come off as a super cool guy. And none of it mattered because he was so goddamn good at what he does. And he forced WWE to, whether I'm not going to say like he forced them to realize, I'm not going to say that, but he forced them to take notice at that time, at least, that we have to give the fans what they want. You know what I mean? He at that, and he also, like we said, he broke the mold. Guys like Rey Mysterio and stuff, yes, they broke the mold, but specifically like an indie ring, like an indie, like a guy who came up on the indies, just a wrestling, diehard wrestling indie fan, like fanatic, like get in there, like the guy, the indie scum, we're all indie, the indie scum that was Daniel Bryan, in the words of WWE, in the eyes of WWE. Those weren't their type of guys, and he gave them no choice. Because he said, I'm the greatest in the world. I'm the most over in the world. You have no choice. You have to. And without guys like Daniel Bryan doing what he did, who knows where, who knows what would end up happening, for guys in the future, like guys like Finn Balor, or, like guys, coming up on NXT right now. You know what I mean? Carmelo Hayes. There's guys on the main roster.
I would say, so like, while yes, Rey Mysterio may have broken the mold and opened the door for wrestlers like that.
That was more of an anomaly, I felt like.
It's yes, he did that, but also the door then closed after that.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's what I mean. It was an anomaly as where it was like, it was less as in like, okay, Ray's the first one to break this door open. It was like no, the door's not open. Ray's just the exception. You know what
yeah.
I mean? To whereas in with Daniel Bryan, it felt as if like he busted that door open and everyone behind, they were like, we're here,
And
motherfucker.
and it's because and that's because like we say that about Ray because while he won, like there wasn't many guys after him that won that were similar to him. Like
No,
now we have
seriously.
guys after Danielson won that are more similar to him.
Yeah, and it's
And
just not even size-wise is in just a smaller guy, but is in just not the traditional WWE build and look.
yeah.
I mean, without Daniel Bryan really laying the groundwork as far as WWE is concerned, who knows if we ever would have gotten a guy like AJ Styles joining WWE. AJ
Yeah.
Styles might have never joined the WWE. He might have never became a WWE champion. Who knows what things would look like as far as Sami Zayn is concerned and as far as Kevin Owens is concerned. Guys that don't fit the regular professional wrestling mold. And Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, truly just
Yeah.
busted through that glass ceiling, and just kind of laid the groundwork for what would be an entirely new era and new, like a new kind of way for WWE moving forward.
Yeah.
And we all know that they still love their big muscly beef buff dudes. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, it was before Daniel Bryan. It felt like the type of guys like that, the indie technical wrestling, guys who just are obsessed with the craft and come in off the indies. Guys like Danielson and Cole and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Finn Balor, and he kind of, really, really kind of paved the way for those guys and established that those guys are able. All right, so this is the best way for me to word it, and I'll end it with this. For me, in my eyes, Bryan Danielson established more than anybody else that in the biggest wrestling company in the world, you can show up with all the work you've put in and do it, basically. And you don't have to change, basically. And he kind of paved the way in certain words for a lot of guys. And like I said, and his current run in AEW has done nothing but just kind of cement him up there. Just an absolute baller of a heel, of a faction leader. He loves Jon Moxley, dude. And he loves Wheeler Yuta. And he loves Claudio Castagnoli.
He's a
because
great
they are
example.
professionals.
He's a great example of like someone who can work both sides, as we have legitimately seen in AEW. He's someone who is absolutely awesome. He can get the crowd behind him as a babyface, but also he can be the scumbag that he needs to be in order to be a heel. So.
Dude, run as the planet. Yeah. Also, to keep in
slept
mind,
on. That's a slept on.
His run as like the planet's champion. Which is insane that we tried to make him that he was just being billed as this like insane, horrible person of a heel when all he was trying to do was save the planet and
it's absurd.
He somehow made it work. It was awesome.
Imagine them just being like, Vince just be like, all right, Danielson, we've got a new gimmick for you. You're gonna save the planet. She's like, all right, sweet. Like as a babyface.
No,
as a heel, damn it.
No, you're gonna be the biggest heel in the company.
So you want me to be the biggest heel in the company by trying to save the earth? Boom, you got it, kid. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what a guy, what a wrestler. Easily a top 3 technical wrestler of all time. Probably number 1. So great pick. And for my number 1, I have none other than a man who really helped me get back into WWE when I was starting to sort of fall out of it as you get older. And then I saw this guy and he really stuck out to me, and that is Kevin Owens. Kevin
Love it.
Owens, for me, is someone, again, who kind of broke the mold, a different mold for WWE.
I easily could have put KO on my list as well. I
Kevin
love
Owens
KO.
is one of the guys, and what I always loved about him is he did things that guys size shouldn't do. Like, he
Mhm.
moves like a cruiserweight. He's a guy who looks like they just pulled him off the street, and this happens to be this insanely good professional wrestler. And I think it's similar to what you were saying about Danielson, is that he didn't fit this idea, the molds of a WWE superstar, but he showed he has love for the business. He's got love for professional wrestling, and he overcame everything. And I mean, just seeing him over the past few years, while he hasn't gotten like the world title runs that he deserves, he's always been like a main focal point of WWE. So Kevin Owens, what a guy, my favorite wrestler of all time. And I mean, he's just like, I don't know. I just like love him. He does all of these small little things. Like if you watch his
He's also
matches,
hilarious.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like every backstage segment, like pay attention if he's like wrestling in a match, like look for him and listen to what he's saying, because he
Yeah.
is very funny. Like he says the
So
funniest
funny.
stuff.
Like, why does he
Um,
say general like that? Like,
dude,
he says general weird. He was like, okay, will you just go? Can we talk?
yeah, I mean that whole segment was great.
Yeah.
And he just came back and was like, "Oh, not these guys again."
uh, Gunther very well may work his way up to my top 5 as well.
Yeah, I think I probably should have put Gunther at my number 5, but
I probably should have put Gunther as an honorable mention as
I
well.
kind of forgot about Gunther.
Yeah, there's so many.
I mean,
What a
it's tough.
time.
Yeah, I mean,
Kenny,
Jesus.
like Kenny easily, like probably should have been in mine. But I didn't really become a super big Kenny fan until AEW. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
can't
and
quite.
that's why like AEW is so important, because it really gives a
No,
lot of these
seriously.
other wrestlers a massive spotlight to really showcase their skills. And so before we close out the show, I just want to get your thoughts on they announced the news last week about AEW Collision, their third weekly show, Saturday nights at 8 p.m., a 2-hour show. It's going to debut June 17th. I love that the logo is Monday Night Nitro themed. I think it's super cool. So what are your thoughts on AEW, briefly, on AEW having a third weekly show?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea for them. They have a huge roster. Um, so I'm just saying, yeah, we'll see where it goes. It's really, it's like I can't tell if it's a good or a bad idea yet, because we'll see how it is booked.
Yeah. So like I am hesitant because of like how much effort they're going to put into the show, because we've seen what happened with like Rampage has sort of fallen off, just because like based off of storylines, and like it is different because Rampage is only 1 hour, but I think that if they put in the time, if they put in the
I
effort,
think
this could
Collision
be
is
a
going to be,
really good show.
yeah, I think it could potentially be treated as more of like a separate brand. There's not going to be quite a brand split, I don't think, but like, um,
I'm
kind of,
happy I'm
kind of
happy
like a
that
separate brand.
they're going to feature wrestlers who they haven't really been featuring much, because
Yeah.
they said specifically they're going to feature Thunder Rosa, Powerhouse Hobbs, Miro, Andrade El Idolo. Like those are people who have just been like on the sidelines for no
Yeah.
reason, besides just there's not enough time. So I'm happy that more wrestlers are going to
No, that's the thing, is like
get television time
they
to
have
showcase
the
those
roster
skills.
to do it. So they just got to do it.
Yeah. Dude, give me Miro versus Andrade in the main event of the
Mm.
first Collision, and I will be a happy man. So that is going to wrap up another episode of the podcast. Let us know in the comments, who are your top 5 personal favorite wrestlers of all time? And let us know, do you think AEW debuting a third weekly show in Collision is a good idea or not? Dillon, where can people find out when we release new episodes of the podcast?
That would be our social medias.
That's right. On Twitter, you can follow us at The Burnt Hammer. On Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, you can follow us at The Burning Hammer. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure to follow and subscribe and leave us a review, because those really do help us out a lot. We are available wherever you listen to podcasts. And make sure to follow Vendetta Sports Media. Me and Dillon cover professional wrestling for them. So you can follow them on Twitter at Vendetta VSM, on Instagram and TikTok at Vendetta Sports Media. And make sure to check out vendettasportsmedia.com for all of your sports needs, plus TV, movies, and gaming. You name it, they cover it. Head over to vendettasportsmedia.com. That's going to wrap up another episode of the podcast. We will see you next Monday.